What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today, big banger alert, quite honestly. I don't even know if an intro is needed for this video. Just a wild banger in your sub box today. So today I'm talking about the time that I hooked up with a subscriber. Now, normally YouTubers don't make videos like this because, you know, from what I've seen, it's like frowned upon. But at the same time, I'm fucking Goblin. Do you think I give a shit? Absolutely not. 110% no, I do not. So we're going to make this banger of a video. Hope you guys enjoy. Drop a like if you do. Let's dive into it. So this happened, a little while ago, fairly recently. I think it was maybe the end of March. It was like mid-March. I know it was in March. I'm almost certain of it. And, there was a certain subscriber of mine who had added me on Snapchat and followed me on Instagram, all that stuff, did the social media, the twirl or whatever you want to call it. And, she'd actually gone ahead and DM'd me on Instagram, I think it was, just messaging me, and we talked a little bit. And, when there's a female follower that I get on IG, it's like sometimes I gotta go take a look at their profile. First off, see, okay, am I going to jail if I DM them? Because if so, let's just swipe back to the main feed here. And if I'm not going to jail if I DM them, do I want to DM them? And, the answer to the first question was no, and the answer to the second question was yes. So I wouldn't go to jail, and I did want to DM them. So I was like, okay, this works pretty well, and, when she DM'd me, I responded, and we just kind of had, like, normal conversation. I didn't really, like, hit on her or anything. It was just like, oh, glad you enjoy my videos and stuff like that, and then I just went about my day. So I didn't really think much of it until like a week and a half later. I was on Tinder, and for those of you guys who, may have maybe seen my Tinder video that I made a long time ago, I use Tinder. I don't really use it seriously. I more use it as like a way to gauge my confidence for the day. So like I'll swipe right on everybody, and then if I get matched with a bunch of hot girls, and I'll be like, yo, dude, holy shit. It just like magically makes my dick grow by like 3 inches when I match with a bunch of hot girls on Tinder. But when it doesn't happen, when I don't match with a bunch of hot girls, then my dick gets smaller by 3 inches, which means that I don't have a dick anymore. But either way, it's just wild, so I'm swiping right. I'm doing my Tinder stuff. And as I'm going through, Tinder profiles, I see a very familiar face. I see a very familiar picture, and this girl's Tinder picture was actually the same as her Instagram picture, and I recognized it. I was like, wait a minute, that looks kind of familiar, So I'm looking at her Tinder profile. We're going to call her, let's just go with the classic name. Let's just go with Shelly. So I'm looking at Shelly's profile here. It says she's like 10 miles away. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold the fucking phone here. Hold your horses, gamers. What is happening here? So, I'm looking, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely the same girl. So I swipe right, don't think much of it. I go back to her Instagram to verify, like, is that the same girl or am I just retarded? And it was, in fact, the same girl. So I shoot her a DM. I was like, yo, where are you from? She tells me that she lives in a town that's close to me. We're not going to disclose the exact town here, but it was like maybe like a 20-minute drive, 25-minute drive. So she tells me where she's from. I'm like, oh, I'm from here. She's like, oh, damn, you're actually really close. And then I mentioned that she was on Tinder. I mentioned like, oh, I just saw you on Tinder. Like, that's why I was curious. And she was like, oh, did you swipe right? And yeah, I was just like, fuck it. At this point, we balls deep, boys. We in the cut right now. So I was like, yes. And after that, things just really went wild. Truly just true chaos in the DMs. It very quickly got, moved over to Snapchat. And whenever a conversation that you're having with a female gets moved from a social media platform to Snapchat, that's when you in the cut, boys. That's when we made it. We made it out the trap, So it moves over to Snapchat. We're hooting and hollering. We're chatting. She shows me some parts of her body that normally she wouldn't show people. And it was just a great time. So we were discussing, and I was like, yo, so when are you free? Like, let me come slide. Because at this point, I was like, all right, she's close as fuck to me. She's already going wild on the Snapchat. Let's have a hoot and a fucking holler right now. She's like, oh, my parents are going to be at work or out at dinner or some bullshit. I don't remember. She told me her parents weren't going to be home, this upcoming week. She told me that I don't remember what day it was. I know it was like a weekday. I don't remember what fucking day. We'll say it was like a Wednesday. So she's like, oh, my parents are going to be out on Wednesday night. You can come over. So I'm like, all right, slap me that address. I'll pull up. It was still the weekend at this point. So it was like 3 days away. So, you know, I pull up her address on Google Maps just to see exactly how far it was. And I'm like, all right, yeah, you know, I'll come through on Wednesday at like 4 o'clock or something. So Wednesday rolls around. I'm getting ready. Let me tell you boys right now, I'm making sure I'm shaving to perfection down there. Even though I'd shaved pretty recently at this point, I made sure we do that double shave. We make sure, I just burped in the middle of that, excuse me. We make sure that it is just exquisitely smooth down there. It's like a baby's head down there. And it truly was. You know, I made sure there was no hair on my body. I looked like the most prepubescent motherfucker ever. And then I was like, all right, let's get it going. So I hop in my car. I whip it over there at the speed of light. I was looking forward to this. It was like, damn, dude, this is about to be some wild sex right here. This is going to be a good time because we talked on Snapchat. She was wild. So I was like, okay, this is going to be an overall wild evening. So I get over there. I'm going to her house. And I hop out of the car and walk up to a house. Now, I didn't realize that this was not the correct house because I rang the doorbell and this old dude answers. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, well, what do I do at this point? Because even though this dude answered, I thought this was still the right house, but her, like, parents came home. So I asked if the girl was there. I was like, is Shelly home? And the guy was like, oh, Shelly doesn't live here. And I was like, oh, wrong house, I guess. I'm sorry. So I went and got back in my car and I called her and I was like, yo, I just went to this house and this dude answered, like, which house is yours? Which one does it look like? Because I thought I had the right house, but I guess I didn't. So she was like, oh, you know, it's just this, you know, it's one story. It's like a little brick house. So I pull up. There it is, you know, little brick house right here. And I go to her door. She answers, you know, she answers. She's in like a tank top and short shorts and nothing else. So I knew immediately, like, yeah, okay, this is happening right now. So I get in the house and it's kind of awkward because, you know, like, I literally never met this girl in person. Like, it was like we talked on Snapchat, but like in person, it's like very different. So I was like, oh, what's good? And she's like, oh, hey. So like we kind of had that like moment of silence where it was like we both knew what was about to happen, but like didn't really know what else to say to each other. So I was just like, well, let's go to, you know, like, where are we doing this at? Let me check out your room or something. And, you know, I had my condoms in my pocket. She wanted me to wrap it up, but normally I go in raw. But on this particular day, I was like, I'll respect your needs. I'll wrap it up because I respect women. So we go into her room. It's a nice little environment, you know, cozy little room. She's got the single bed, but it was enough to work with. You know, it was definitely enough room to have some hoots and hollers. And hoots and hollers were had. You know, how it kind of played out was, you know, I like got ready, I guess you could say. You know, I kind of like took off my sweatshirt. I had my undershirt on. You know, I had my chain on. I took that off, took off my watch, just put all my belongings on the counter out of my pockets and stuff, sat down on her bed, and she's like kind of making small talk with me and like standing like right in front of me, almost like on my legs, like just standing there, like kind of talking to me as I sat down. And I wasn't having any more of those shenanigans. So I was just like, fuck it, boys. Let's get it. So I just kind of grabbed her, I guess. I was like, come here. And I just kind of like grabbed her. You know, it sounds very like aggressive. It really wasn't. Like, I'm making it sound like I just fucking yanked her ass onto me. It was more like, you know, I had my hand on her hip and I was just like, all right, come here. And she kind of knew, you know, she gave me that little smirk, that little smile. It just went wild. You know, we were, I'm not going to get too detailed, but, you know, one thing led to another and her mouth was at the base of my penis. And, you know, let me tell you, she sucked the soul out of me. Let me tell you, this was pretty impressive. The quality of fellatio here was pretty remarkable, I'm not gonna lie. And I nutted pretty fucking quick. I can't even BS. I was caught way off guard here. It's like I was a baseball player and I was covering third base and I thought the ball was coming to me, so I started running back and all of a sudden the ball hooks a U-turn and flies back to the fucking home plate. It was wild. Caught me completely off guard. So I'm sitting here getting the absolute living shit sucked out of my dick, and I bust, you know, I busted it maybe like I don't know, it's pretty quick. I'd say like 10 minutes, like 15 minutes. I might even be stretching it. And, you know, that was even with me like having to pull her head off my dick because I was about to bust. And I was trying to last. So I busted. And, you know, she did a great job. She made sure that she had gotten, you know, all of that into her system. She made sure none of that spilled out. So props to her, you know, really great cleaning job there. And after that, you know, she wanted me to fuck her. And I was like, wait a minute, I literally just busted. Like, you gotta give me a second here. So I ate her out for a minute. And, you know, I'm kind of getting ready for it. And I'm like, damn, I just busted a big ass nut. I need a timeout. You know, I need a timeout. So I straight up told her, I was like, hey, listen, can we go to McDonald's real quick? Because I got to grab a Sprite or something. Because I need a timeout after that nut. That was some quality head. That is literally what I told her. And she was like, all right, you know, I'm down for that. So I gained a lot of respect for her in that moment. Because, you know, some girls are like very demanding. You know, they're like, nah, listen, you're going to fuck the soul out of me right now. And some girls are very accommodating. They understand that if after I bust my first nut, I need to recuperate a little bit. I gotta, you know, regather myself. So we go pull up to McDonald's. We're in my car, and you know, I end up going through the drive-thru. I get my Sprite. I run inside to take a piss. Now, here's where it gets ugly. So, you know, I'm inside. I'm taking a piss. My buddy calls me. You know, my buddy calls me up. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" I was like, "Hey, can I call you back in a bit?" So he's like, yeah, you know, call me back, whatever. So, you know, I hang up on him, hop back in the car, go back to her house, think absolutely nothing of it. You know, I get back in her room. We're just starting to get into funky time again. I mean, I'm literally just now taking this girl's pants off and getting ready to bust the second nut of a lifetime. And my boy calls me back up, this time on FaceTime. So I'm like, all right, what does he want? So I answer, because she, you know, I originally was reaching to hang it up, and she was like, no, like, answer, it's cool, you know, I don't care. So I answer, and she's kind of like, she's just kind of like waiting for me to hang up. So I answer, and I'm like, yo, what's up? Like, what do you need? And my buddy tells me, he tells me some wild fucking story. I don't know if he just needed a ride and wanted to BS me, or if he, like, this really happened. But he tells me that apparently some dude just stained him and he needs a ride home because he's like an hour and a half away from home, and it's like the middle of March, and he's on FaceTime with me so I can see his surroundings. The dude's literally just in the middle of the street, just like pitch black, standing there. Like, not even a car in sight that could belong to him. So I was like, are you for real right now? Like, there's no way you could Uber, you know, there's nobody else you could get a ride from. Because I explained the situation. I was like, listen, I'm at a girl's house right now. Like, is there no way that you could get a ride? You know, like, there's nothing else you could do. You can't Uber, nothing. He was like, no, bro, I've already tried that shit. I don't even got my wallet with me to Uber. Like, he took my fucking wallet. I don't have my card. So I was like, okay, that's pretty fucked. And, you know, it came to the point where I was at a crossroads in my life. Because I either had to fuck over my boy and bust a great nut, or I had to walk out on this girl who I felt kind of bad because she gave me top and it was great. I didn't even get to return the favor. I didn't even get to fuck her. Okay, so I was like, either way, it was just gonna be an ugly situation. So, you know, she heard the whole thing since I was on FaceTime, so she kind of like got out of her like sexual mode, I guess you could say, and went into her like caring friend mode. And she was like, oh, you should really go help him and stuff like that. And I was like, I was trying to like get out of it. I was like, no, like, it's cool, you know, he'll be fine. And she was like, no, you should really go help him. And I was like, fuck. You know, I was just sitting there like, what the fuck, dude? Like, can she not care this much? And I was telling her like, no, I'm pretty sure I'm good. And she was like, are you sure? Like, you can, you know, like, it's okay. You know, I'm not going to be upset. And I was like, shit. Because after she said that, I was like, wait a minute. Do I really want to fuck over my boy like this? But at the same time, do I really want to not bust this nut? So I was just at a deep, deep crossroads, and I had to make a decision. And I decided I was going to help out my homie. There was no way that I could just leave him out there in the cold like that after he got robbed. You know, whether he really got robbed or he just needed a ride home and that was his reasoning, I don't fucking know. But either way, I couldn't leave him out there. Dude clearly needed, you know, he needed a ride pretty badly. So I was like, all right, well, I'm really sorry. You know, I probably apologized to this girl like 10 times. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I did not expect this. Please hit me up when you're free next. And then hopefully no more of my friends will get robbed. She was like, okay. sounds good. So, she's kind of walking me out. I'm getting my clothes on. We kind of do the little thing where, like, as I'm walking out, it's like I got to get, like, one last piece of ass. So we kind of, like, got a little wild, in the corner against the wall real quick before I walked out. And then I finally actually left. She's standing in the garage. She, like, waves to me, and I like, wave back, and I text her after I, like, was maybe 10 minutes away from her house. Now she's like, yo, I'm so sorry. Like, let me know when you're free again and I can come over or something like that. She was like, all right, I'll let you know. And I had to go pick up my buddy. He was an hour and a half away from his house, but from where I was, it was thankfully kind of in the same direction. So it was only like a 40-minute drive, which is still kind of bad. But either way, I went and picked up my homie. We went back, kind of around our area, in our town, and just kind of kicked it for a little bit. We went and grabbed some food, and I kind of explained to him what just happened. He was like, yeah, I'm sorry, but I was kind of fucked. And I was like, yeah, no, it's cool. It's Gucci, whatever. I can't be mad at him. He needed some help. So after that, I went home. Can't even lie, beat my meat pretty aggressively, because even though I'd already busted one nut, that second one was still in the blue balls category. So it was pretty bad, but after I busted the nut, I felt a lot better. And then I went to bed. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. Drop a like if you did. If you guys want to hear more stories like this, maybe non-drug related ones, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.